into the day with the dawn ringing in my ears. Oh, well, I tune into my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning espresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
And a very good morning to you. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso on S3. I'm Zoe Brown, and you're in for a treat between now and 9 o'clock. Today, we are putting the spotlight on current affairs. And you might have noticed over the weekend, it's been a couple of, eventful couple of days in the country. And this morning, we are keeping you clued up. From the orange haze that's seen in Canada, also affecting parts of the US, to the earthquake felt in Gauteng. That's just some of the news that's been happening. We will be bringing you an update on that. And then we're also going to be turning the spotlight to the BRICS summit, from its controversy with its association with Russia to the sanctions placed on South Africa and how that will affect our economy. Now, we do have the experts to join us in studio to break it down for us, so do not panic. Just make sure you grab a cup of coffee, you sit back, you relax, and you enjoy, just like Carl.
Grab a cup of coffee. I'm doing just that, Zoe. That's what I'm going to do. Happy Monday. My name is Carl Wasty. It is great to have you along for the ride on your Feel Good Breakfast Show today. It's all about waking you up, getting you started for the week. It's going to be a beautiful week. There's something about it. I don't know what it is, but there's something very positive about the week this week. And it always starts with coffee. What I have is Jacob's Lungo Intenso. Now, this one, it's the capsule coffee. But the thing is, it's not just a normal cup. It's Lungo Intenso. It's long and intense like the week could be, but this shortens things up quite beautifully. So take a sip of this, grab yourself a cup of coffee, because coffee is often the start of some very, very important decisions, specifically for South Africa in light of BRICS. And here's a face you haven't seen in a while. It's Graham, because I missed him so much. Do you want some coffee, brother?
With Jacob's Barista Editions, every bean, every roast, every cup is in a class of its own. Jacob's Barista quality in whole beans and new aluminium capsules in 3 exciting flavors. Try now.
Oh, you know how I like it, my friend. So good to see you. I was working on a long and intense face, but I can't quite pull it off this early in the week. Don't worry, we are going to press pause, yes, and have our coffee, and yes, get through a tough conversation. It might feel like a long and intense one, but this morning we're going to dumb it down just a little bit so we can come to BRICS with this. It is BRICS. It's the BRICS Summit, and of course, lots to, I think, wrap our heads around. So we thought we'd put it to you guys this morning. And I know we are grossly oversimplifying these rather choppy waters, but we'd love to hear your input. So we know that South Africa is in very murky waters when it comes to Putin's possible attendance here in South Africa. So what do we do? A, arrest him. B, deny him entry. Or C, move the summit to China or try something else. What are our options here? What do you think is the best course of action? We'd love to hear from you. Let us know via voice notes. Send us a WhatsApp video. We'd love to hear from you. 063-408-8863. We're going to start the conversation and try to look at this from as many angles as possible for the next 3 hours. And yes, as Carl said, we've got the experts here to help us get through that. But right now, let's get you prepped for the day ahead with most current affairs, and then I'll get into some of the sporting headlines.
Enjoy the Jacobs, buddy. Let's get into some of those news headlines. Starting nationally, President Cyril Ramaphosa has briefed Chinese President Xi Jinping on the African leaders' peace mission to Ukraine and Russia. Ramaphosa noted that the peace plan has been proposed by China and affirmed by South Africa's and the African leaders' support of initiatives aimed at a peaceful resolution of the conflict. The Chinese president acknowledged the impact the conflict has had on human lives and on food security in Africa. Now, both presidents committed to work towards a successful BRICS summit, which is to take place in South Africa from 22 to 24 August 2023. Meanwhile, the Minister of Police, Bheki Cele, and his Chinese counterpart, Wang Xiaohong, have held discussions on how the two countries could collaborate to deal with violent crimes in South Africa through the use of technology. The two ministers also reflected on security preparations for the 15th BRICS summit in Johannesburg in August, where President Xi Jinping of China will join the other head of state. Cele, accompanied by a delegation of senior South African Police Service officials, have wrapped up a 5-day official visit to the People's Republic of China. On to international news. Nigeria's suspended central bank governor, that is Godwin Emefiele, is being held in custody for investigative reasons, the Department of State Services has said. The country's new president, Bola Tinubu, suspended Emefiele with immediate effect on Friday, a measure the government said was linked to an ongoing probe of the governor's office and to planned reforms in the financial sector. Allies of Tinubu accused the governor of trying to sabotage the election campaign when his plan to swap old Naira banknotes caused severe cash shortages as well as triggered public anger. Now, 3 soldiers fainted on Saturday in front of Prince William during a rehearsal for the annual Trooping of the Colour parade. They were rehearsing in nearly 30 degrees Celsius London heat. Prince William, in a tweet, wrote, "A big thank you to every soldier who took part in the review this morning in the heat, difficult conditions, but you all did a really good job." The Trooping of the Colour is held each June to mark the monarch's official birthday. King Charles will oversee the ceremony on Saturday. 4 siblings aged 13, 9, 5 and 11 months were rescued from the Amazon jungle in Colombia this weekend, 40 days after their small plane had crashed. The children, members of the Iototo indigenous community, survived by eating a yucca flower that was aboard the doomed plane, as well as seeds, fruits and roots, as well as plants they knew were edible thanks to their upbringing and knowledge of nature. Colombia's Defense Minister Ivan Velasquez praised Leslie Makoto, the 13-year-old, for taking care of her younger siblings, saying it was due to her smart leadership and cool disposition that the 3 others were also able to survive. What a beautiful story. And of course, that's where we wrap it up on the news desk for now. There's another update for you in 1 hour. But what a sporting weekend. Comrades feats as well as Champions League. Graham has got all the details.
Thank you so much, Carl. Could be one of the greatest sporting weekends of all time. Let's start with football. Manchester City's class of 22-23 have staked their claim to be ranked as English football's greatest ever team. That was after the treble winners' historic Champions League triumph against Inter Milan. So City's tense 1-0 victory in Istanbul on Saturday evening made them only the 2nd English club after Manchester United to win the Premier League, FA Cup and Champions League in a single season, the treble. They won 44 of their 60 games in all competitions this term, completing a hat-trick of Premier League titles and claiming a 5th in 6 seasons. It's going to be a difficult feat to duplicate. Now we turn to cricket, and Scott Boland sparked a dramatic collapse as a dominant Australia hammered India by 209 runs to win the World Test Championship final. So India set a record 444 to win, resumed on 164 for 3, and they slumped to 234 all out before lunch on that 5th day, losing their last 5 wickets for a mere 22 runs. Boland did the initial damage with 2 wickets. Then off spinner Nathan Lyon, he took 4 for 41 to polish off the tail. And then Travis Head, he was named player of the match for his knock of 163, which really did make all the difference. Now it's finally happened. Let's turn to tennis. Novak Djokovic showed his greatness once again by overcoming a sticky start to win a men's record 23rd Grand Slam title with victory over Norway's Casper Ruud in the French Open final. Well, certainly staking her future claim to the GOAT title, Iga Swiatek won her 3rd Roland Garros title and 4th Grand Slam overall with a 6-2, 5-7 and 6-4 win over an equally spirited Karolina Muchova. Now we turn to running and more GOAT performances. South Africa's Tete Dijane and our friend Gerda Steyn rewrote the record books with 2 athletes now smashing the fastest down run times for men and women during a very memorable Comrades Marathon yesterday. So let's start with Dijane, who successfully defended his crown, winning in 5 hours, 14 minutes and 1 second, stripping more than 4 minutes off David Gatebe's best time of 5 hours, 18 minutes and 19 seconds from 2019. Then it was the turn of Gerda Steyn, who claimed the 2nd Comrades crown of her career, and I think many more to come. She broke 5th Van der Merwe's 34-year-old best time in the process. She smashed the uprun time when she won in her last outing in 2019, crossing the line in 5 hours, 44 and 54 seconds, almost 10 minutes better than the 5 hours, 54 minutes, 43 second mark from 1989. We absolutely love both of you. Gerda, congratulations. That's where we leave our sport after this momentous sporting weekend. Hopefully the roads a little less momentous this morning. Zozo's got the latest.
Thank you, Graham. Let's start off with traffic in Johannesburg. There's protesting in West Dean and Westbury, as well as power outages in the area, so please be careful when approaching and plan your route accordingly. Then in Sibaya in Durban, there's a stationary truck. It's on the N2 South. Please allow for more travel time due to heavy delays. And in Cape Town, Bellville, there's some congestion on the N1 inbound at Jip de Jager. Do expect delays and allow for more travel time this morning. That's a wrap of your traffic. Let's take a final look at your weather. And we start off with some news. The SA Weather Service expects a series of cold fronts to affect the Western and Northern Cape and the Free State throughout the week. Maximum temperatures may be below 10 degrees Celsius in places in the Northern and Western Cape, the Free State and the Eastern Cape. Small stock farmers must note that very cold, wet and windy conditions are expected over the Northern Cape and the Free State. Also, disruptive winds are forecast along the coast of Saldanha and Plettenberg Bay until late evening. Meanwhile, Cape Town City Disaster Risk Management Centre and related departments are on standby for weather-related impacts that may occur. Well, let's take a final look at your temperatures for today. We'll start off in Polokwane, a low of 8 with a high of 24. Mbombela 13 with a high of 34 today. Pretoria, your low is 6, your high 20. Johannesburg 2 with a high of 18. Mahikeng 2 with a high of 20. Klerksdorp 2 with a high of 18. Rainy conditions for Kimberley, 1's your low, 14 your high. Bloemfontein -1 with a high of 15. Richards Bay 14, 29, Pietermaritzburg 7, 25. If you're in Durban, 14's your low, 26 your high. Mthatha 6 with a high of 22. East London 11 with a high of 21. If you're in Cradock, your low is 2, your high 17. Some rain can be expected in Gqeberha, a low of 12 with a high of 19. George 11 reaching a cool 16 for a high. Cape Town 13, also a high of 16. Worcester, brace yourself, a cold day ahead. 9's your low, 14 your high. Sutherland 1-8, and that's your high for today with some rain. And Uppington, a low of 3 and a high of 17 degrees Celsius. Well, those are your temperatures for today. Dress nice and warm, especially if you're in the Western Cape. But let's quickly take a final look at your sunrise views. Omi Bernard shared her magnificent view from the Eastern Cape, undoubtedly a breathtaking view. Ruwain from Westbury sent in her morning view while out and about enjoying a brisk walk. Look at that picture on your screen right now. And then Razan Pandi from GQ shared her morning view. What an absolute stunner. Loving the clouds cascading in the morning. Just look at that. And Wendy is out and about in her area. This is midstream, and decided to share her sunrise view with us. Well, if you have one, we would love to see it. Please share your sunrise videos or photos with us on WhatsApp. That number is 063 408 8863.
Thank you, Zoe. Now, here's the thing. I know you want some entertainment. We got our musical guest giving you some more action here in your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Plus, BRICS has been our focus today. And if you're still confused of what the effect is with regard to BRICS on the economy, I suggest you stay right there. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso here on S3.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Sure, this has been an interesting discussion. Welcome back. We've been chatting about BRICS all morning and the implications of being in business with Russia.
That's right, and we are now about to take a look at the pros and cons about this agreement with Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And here to break it all down for us, we have Natasha Lord back on the couch. Natasha, let's take it back to the beginnings. What was the initial purpose of forming BRICS?
It's collaboration. We needed to come together, form an alternative voice, as I said, and have a space where we can collaborate on all fronts. If it's politically, if it's economically, we wanted to create our own opportunities and not wait for the West to do that. And so we are economically aligned, and we were intentional about that. And in so doing that, we formed BRICS, which now we've seen it's worked out well enough that other countries want to join us.
And a lot of countries, which is
lot
great,
of
which means this could be the next big step, which is
Yeah.
great. That being said, we're going to have to move through certain gateways, as we are with Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. We are probably going to see China do something similar within the Taiwanese space as well. We're going to have to learn how to deal with this walking the line kind of element. How do we do this without completely obliterating our reputation? Is there a balance to be found? Or do we have to go one side or the other?
You know, out of our freedom, we have always been kind of neutral, we've always been calm, we've never had to actually take a really intense hard stance on anything. So we've always been seen as that, you know, neutral Gandhi-like figure in the economic and political world. We then need to decide what matters to us. And I think that's an ongoing or developing answer to that question. Do we align with that? Is that something that we as people feel is right? Is this something that we get our opinion from the media? Or have we sat and thought about who we are politically, who we are as people, who we want to be as represented? Because if we really think about it as citizens, are we saying, I don't agree with Russia because we've seen something on TV, or have we taken the time to interrogate the details? I'm not saying for or against, but I feel that a lot of it is just really a regurgitation of what has been happening or what has been said. And subconsciously, we're just taking it in, and we've got a natural trust to it and
There's a
inclination
bias.
to that. It's a bias, right?
It's a confirmation of that bias, yeah.
And it's interesting because the alternative voice has not been raised in the same at the same volume. So we've heard a lot of the side coming from the West, but we haven't actually heard the other side of how we're actually economically aligned. And so if we see that inflow of information and we contrast it with the lack thereof from where we're actually economically aligned, do we have an opinion, or do we just are we just the targets of a lot of the same
We're
information?
just in the wrong place at the right or wrong time.
Right or
I don't
wrong
know.
time.
Yeah.
So from that, then we can start to say, well, how do we respond to this, and how do we get behind this, and how, aside from reputation, is it reactive, or is it something that we're intentional about building in a specific direction?
Laying the framework, yeah.
Yeah, so we need to figure out which way we're going, not just because, oh, it's Russia or it's China. It could be anybody, but who are we as people, and how is that represented economically?
That's in our control.
That's in our control.
Yeah, I love that.
Do you think we are taking that control that we currently have? Because if we look at the advantages that BRICS was supposed to give the country, we said, yes, it's great for cross-border, you know, relationships. It's great for trading and the economy. Do those advantages still stand to this day compared to when BRICS was formed a few years ago to where we are now?
Yeah, we are seeing that. We are seeing that, and I think that's why we're still trading with the likes of China. I mean, yes, we trade with the US, but it pales in comparison to what we do with China. So we are seeing how that is moving in our economy and how that works and benefits us. So much so, again, this is a testament to how much it's working, is that we're seeing other countries wanting to join. My biggest stance is that we're able to enter a space politically and throw our weight in the direction that we choose. We just need to decide what that is. We need to be able to say, look, we're not going to be bullied. We have an opinion, and we're not just going, you know, plugged in the direction of whoever has the loudest voice or leverage, the highest leverage over us. So we are seeing it work. We have an alternative voice, which I think is important.
Well, it's becoming one of the only clear paths to economic development for the developing world, which is a major thing here. And we do punch above our weight class, which is great. What will we be called? if we open up bricks and mortar and cement and...
Bricks plus. I wonder, actually. That's a good one.
Yeah, maybe just Africa is fine. We can start there and then we'll expand beyond that. Thank you so much for helping us understand this a little bit more. I think from my perspective, being within the news kind of space, and I say that lightly, don't just go on the news. Just remember that that is there to sell papers. It's there to clickbait. It's there to get people interested into reading the story. But the deeper story and what you take out of that requires a bit of inspection. So just go out there, do your research, develop your own opinions, and of course, plug into the experts like we do every single day. Natasha, thank you so much. You're amazing.
Thank you for having me.
What a great chat. And of course, after a chat like that about bricks, we have to build on that with some entertainment. And joining us on the Expresso stage is Ava Like Lava, a global citizen, artist taking up space in the music industry and making some incredible cool sounds. In fact, I wanted to just ask you about the songwriting thing, Ava. Is that you are a songwriter registered with the Universal Music Group. So clearly you know how to put pen to paper. I want to know, what is the creative process from your side? What inspires you to write?
Honestly, I feel like in the creative process, you kind of have to let go of any ideas you may have about what you expect the process to be.
Okay.
Allow your mind to be clear enough so that whatever comes to you, you don't judge, you put it down, then you evaluate what the story is. It's at least maybe that's my process. I don't know if I want to speak on it.
I like that, actually. That's lots of... just a quick one is, if there's one artist you'd love to write for, who would it be right now?
Right now?
Yeah. Any artist in the world, if you could choose any artist, they said, hey,
Doja Cat.
Doja, oh, come on now,
Yeah.
yes.
If she lets me, yeah.
She will.
Definitely.
And also, she's kind of from here, if you think. Her full name, Amaratna Zandile Lamini from Durban. But it's fine, we're going to claim her. Your new single, 90s Anxiety. I'm very excited about it. Comes out on Friday, which is very, very cool. Youth Day. Obviously, some significance about it coming out on Youth Day. Was that deliberate from your side?
I think, you know, things end up happening the right way. So it's a matter of just trusting the process. That wasn't the original release date we had in mind for the song, but once we realized that the 16th was Youth Day, that was the perfect decision for us to make and to align the story with the greater context of South Africa and what's happening.
And I like the 90s that's happening here, all right? There's a lot of inspiration, which is very cool. But you lived in 4 different countries, all right? So apparently, born in Japan, sort of raised in China and Iran, that's where you're from, and then you also, South Africa is in the mix, 4 different countries. Now, for anybody who is a young person trying to explore the world, find themselves in a way, do you have any sort of Youth Day messages for them if they want to get themselves up and try to take a global perspective on what they are going to do and what their purpose is?
Honestly, I feel like it's great for everyone to take like the gap year approach of, you know, no matter what the job is, just go somewhere else, try something out. The perspective you will gain from experiencing life in a different place will make you appreciate what you thought you were leaving at home that you thought was, you know, being the source of the problem of why you wanted to leave. So no matter what the opportunity is, whether it's teaching your mother language, which may be English for a lot of people in this country, go for it, you know? You never know what opportunity actually lies, you know, on the other side of the world for you. And everything you do can open doors that you could never anticipate. So you just have to trust the process, take that flight, and you'll appreciate home a lot more after that.
What? Look at that, inspiration for you in the Feel Good Breakfast Show. And now, I think spewing out of the talent volcano is Ava Like Lava. This is 90s Anxiety, an exclusive, and it will be dropping on Friday. So make sure you check it out on Youth Day. Take it away, Ava.
Thank you.
Feel like I'ma need a moment. Feel like I'm a grown kid. Feel like I've left truths unspoken. Feel like I'm just trying to break free. Feel like coming, demons coming, 3s. It's coming, 3s. Yeah. I don't really know what I've got to say. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Million dreams going through my brain. Da-da-da-da-da-da. The road is still young, there's a lot to pave. Must behave. Find myself, find the water. All I gotta do now is ride the wave. Ride the wave. Got a long way to go till I can be my fave. Running up to the hills, got eyes from sideways. trusting my inclination, declining your invitation, delaying gratification. Feel like I'ma need a moment. Feel like I'm a grown kid. Feel like I've left truths unspoken. Feel like feel like I'm just trying to break free. Feel like demons coming 3 days. It's coming 3 days.
Hey. Tequila shots in my hand. That 2C got me feeling kinda wavy. I don't need a break. Lately I'm moving crazy. Feeling like I'm lost, feeling kinda full. Did you get me wrong? I got what I want. After chocolate bars on your mirasa with sauce, I get lost, short off, shut up, jang. Bego me until the pop. Tanto ra 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 ra. Hala, hot your mom, bala, mola, yeah, call it taki. Dora hami, wanna bagi me, I push the ham heat. So it's that beach, mocha tati. Down when the shop, where what's that
Feel like I'ma need a moment. Feel like I'm a grown kid. Feel like I've left truths unspoken. Feel like I'm just trying to break free. Feel like demons coming 3 days. It's coming 3 days. Baby, قلبمو بهم بگو میشنوی صدامو در به در رفتم دیدم دنیا رو ای کاش میفهمیدی حرفامو
What? What? Yo, that song made me tootsie roll a bit, I'm not gonna lie. The hips were moving with that song. That was so
I could
good.
see you. That was
did you see me?
encouraging.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to distract you while you were performing. Ava Like Lava, 90s Anxiety out on Friday. Make sure you support this incredible track. And there will be one more performance for you coming up very, very soon. So yes, more movement here. Loosen up so long. Stay with us. Your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Yeah.
Facebook.
It's my feel good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso on S3. Now, we are heading to our digital news desk where we will be chatting about new headlines seen on social media. Now, from an orange haze New York City to an earthquake in Gauteng, pop culture and entertainment content creator Zethu Qola joins us this morning in studio as we unpack what has been going on all over the world. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank
We're
you.
going to put you in the hot seat now. Hey?
Right.
Yeah, we're going to just go straight into it. There were strange sightings all over. And
Yes.
it's not strange. We kind of know what it was about, but in case anybody's been under a rock, the skies in New York City did not look the same.
It's
They
a
looked
Wes
scorched
Anderson
orange.
movie.
What was happening?
So fires broke out in British Columbia. So think Canada, Ontario. There are over 150 of them, and they are out of control. They've managed to get some under control,
Yes.
but a lot of them are still out of control, to the point where many countries are volunteering firefighters, like South Africa bringing 200. Then we have Spain and France, who have also brought in about 280, with more coming. It's really, really devastating.
Well, it's amazing that we were able to send quite a few firefighters to Canada. With regards to the complaints online, I know that there were quite a few celebrities, especially those on Broadway, that have been complaining about the air quality. Have you got an update on that?
The air quality has been horrific, and especially if you suffer from things like asthma, heart disease, and a few illnesses, it would have been especially harder for you.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of widespread warnings for people to wear masks when they leave their homes, to only leave their homes for essentials, basically, which is a bit of an interesting situation considering Americans would protest against masks for COVID.
Yeah.
But now everyone is very desperate to protect themselves, their health. And it's devastating, especially for the wildlife. 85% of wildlife has been affected by these fires. And over 100,000 people have been evacuated from their homes across the different regions because of just how intense it's been. And some of the fires by people, other fires have been caused by lightning.
Yes.
So they're trying to get to the bottom of it, but they are issuing a lot of health warnings.
Well, 200 of our very, very good firefighters are over there, and I think it's such a great thing that South Africa contributed. If you look at it, they actually came through to Canada singing and bringing some hope and light, which is what we need at a time like this. But then we go back home and we hear about an earthquake this weekend.
Right.
And I'm thinking, wow, so we're sending through our firefighters abroad. It's like, come back, it was an earthquake. However, I think a lot of celebrities and a lot of content creators have been kind of, taking this one for a ride, because apparently somebody dropped their muffin.
Yes.
There was one of those white chairs. It was knocked over in a backyard.
Oh, no.
So yes, exactly.
The extreme disaster.
And somebody said that the earthquake changed their mind. So,
Sure.
yes, they were going to do something, and then they felt a shudder, and then they stopped doing that.
Their life just flashed before their eyes.
Exactly. So tell me about, I know there's a 5.0 on the Richter scale as well. It struck about 10 kilometers below the surface, about 16 kilometers southeast of Johannesburg. There was the stats around it, but an earthquake of this sort, I mean, it feels more like content than a disaster.
Oh, no, it is absolutely content, but there have been disastrous things other than people being shaken to the core.
Yes,
To the
please.
point of realizing that they do not want to die alone.
Ah.
So there's a shopping center where a ceiling broke.
Oh, no.
Some people's windows have been reported to have been shattered.
Yes.
So there are questionnaires and surveys out there where they're encouraging people to kind of report their experiences, hand over footage, just so they could measure the impact of the earthquake.
Yeah.
And then in terms of it happening near Boksburg,
Yes.
it's because there's a mine there. So they're trying to get to the bottom of whether this earthquake is related to the mining activity that was happening in the region, or if it was caused by something completely different. So we have geoscientists from around the world just trying to explore what's happened, and then we have our own people who are trying to gather as much information
Yes.
about the effects of the earthquake.
Well, listen, social media has been a buzz with it, some people sleeping through it, but Zethu, you're not going anywhere. We have more to unpack on our digital news desk, so stay tuned to your Feel Good Breakfast show. In fact, if you perhaps experienced the earthquake or you would love to be part of this conversation, we always love hearing your voice. You're welcome to join the conversation on our WhatsApp line. Our number is 063-408-8863.
So I've been wandering around the kitchen just a little bit, as I am prone to do, and I spotted the Omar rusks, thankfully laid out, and of course spotted the Jacob's choc hazelnut cappuccino. which, yes, I have tasted a few times before, but I figured this was the perfect match made in heaven, and I couldn't resist, so I've whipped myself up a frothy cup, and I've got myself my Omar rusks, and I think this is the perfect pairing. So if you really want to experience this, I suggest you do. This is absolute pure joy, and nothing quite like this combination. So I'm going to give you permission right now. You can do it. And stay with us, because after the break, we're going to spill some tea to go with our coffee as well. We're going to continue to focus on all of those social media trends that are breaking the internet right now. And of course, we've got a front row seat for another amazing performance coming from Ava. We absolutely love her, and we love the look of that. Oh, mama, come here.
Making a cappuccino with thick creamy froth is now impressively easy.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
We are back indeed. Welcome back. It is Expresso on S3, and we are also taking a look at the world of news as seen on social media this past weekend. Now, we touch on South Africa losing its bid to host a Formula One race at its Kyalami Grand Prix circuit, allegedly due to its close ties with Russia. Now, it would have been the first time South Africa hosted the F1 in 30 years. Zetu is still with us as we take a deeper look at this. Of course, a huge loss for South Africa with regards to F1.
Big loss financially, to the economy, to the tourism. You look at what the effects of the E-Prix were, and that is kind of the soft launch of what a Formula One could be, but on a much smaller scale. So from tourism to hospitality, it's a major, major loss, especially for the cities of South Africa, especially for the tourism, especially for the PR.
Yeah.
I mean, this would have been bigger PR than Tottenham Hotspur's sponsorship, you know?
Yes.
So it's really unfortunate. There are many reasons floating around, but...
Yeah.
So it's not confirmed, or is it confirmed that one of the reasons we didn't get it is because of our relationship with Russia?
That's the thing. It's like celebrity gossip,
okay,
where no one ever said it was happening and no one ever officially said it wasn't, but then it was a matter of this source, that source. So first it was a financial issue between the promoter and the actual F1 organization. And then it became one of those, actually, no, it's because of our ties with Russia. So I really don't know. We need someone to come out of the woodworks. Again, how the story about all of this started is because Lewis Hamilton was just like, I would love to race in South Africa.
Yes.
And so everyone was like, oh my gosh, the Formula One is coming to South Africa. So...
In fact, we actually we have a clip of it as well, that we actually got. So we should actually take a look at this clip over here and take a look.
Yeah, I've been shouting about having a race in Miami, and the next one I've been talking about is South Africa, and that's what I'm pushing for in the background. So hopefully you'll see that come to light soon as well. And that's a real big dream for me.
Wow, hey, looks like we're going to have Shakira in South Africa soon. It happens.
Why-
What? Sorry, too
Are
soon.
you-
I'm too soon. I'm sorry. That's a different type of gossip. It's not this gossip. I'm sorry. But hips don't lie.
The vroom vrooms.
Just that's it, But with regard to us hosting one, I mean, the implications you mentioned tourism-wise, but I mean, what's it going to take for us to host another one? Is it going to be a separation from BRICS? We've been chatting about this all morning. Or is it going to be getting to the bottom of it, that person that comes out of the woodwork to give us a little bit, some ideas as to if it's an infrastructure thing? Is it indeed a political thing? Sure, what's going to take?
I don't know how political it is, but because the first rumor ended up with financial complications, that might be the first root of the problem.
Okay.
So I think if financially, something can come about, the talks could come back onto the table. We're the only African country that has ever hosted a Formula One race, I think in 30 years or ever. So it would be great to see if there are any other qualifying African countries, perhaps if they completely, move us out of the picture.
Well, which other country other than South Africa or Morocco could host? Is Zanzibar or Tanzania on the table?
They've put Tanzania and Zanzibar, but I'm thinking vacation. I've never been to Zanzibar, but I'm. Where are we building?
Yes.
Where are we building the Grand Prix?
Yeah, Zanzibar, I mean, beautiful island, but I can't imagine the F1 there.
Yeah, especially because they have to now live with the existence of the structure, for many years to come. I think it would not look good.
It would be beautiful, though.
It would be beautiful.
It would be really nice to have probably a bikini F1.
A postcard with an island that has a race course.
That's correct. They might change the kit. There might actually be shorts, T-shirts for the drivers.
Imagine.
Lewis
would love that.
Blackies.
Yeah. He's a style icon.
Yes, he is. Ask
really
Shakira.
Is.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You keep bringing Shakira into this. Fill me in. Did I miss out on some celeb gossip?
So there was, sorry, man, there was a little rumor about Lewis Hamilton and Shakira, having a bit of a connection, that's all.
Okay.
That's all. Just a little. But just to go back to the earthquake, we chatted about it earlier, Zetu, and we asked for some clips. So we managed to dig around to get some more details to how this went down. So this clip over here, you can see the time, 11 June, 2:39 a.m. A bunch of things falling. It's a scarier clip than what we've seen before. The clips I saw somebody's garden chair fall over and a muffin, but that's a bit more serious than the other ones.
Yes.
There's more.
But let's have a look. Ooh,
oh, wow.
See, that's a bit more serious.
That's a proper shake. So I probably would have slept through that.
But I don't.
I can't imagine how crazy it is to just be sleeping and then the earthquake happens and you wake up and it's like still. Do you question your sanity? Like, did that just happen?
I think a lot of people did. Yeah. But I'm assuming with the rattling, you know, windows shaking, some have been reporting windows breaking, alarms probably got triggered. So definitely a lot of noise in your area.
And terrifying.
So there's Alberton getting a little bit of shake of the tin. There we go. And then some more of the damage. So especially, structures, the integrity of structures were tested by this thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of those things. But I mean, I'm glad that there weren't too many massive casualties as we've seen abroad. I think it is kind of scary, but the sooner they get to the bottom of this, the better. But Zetu, thank you for helping us on our social media news desk. It really is a pleasure. Honestly, you have been phenomenal.
Thank you. I love coming to the Expresso show.
Oh, we love having you here. Zetu joining us as we unpack what was happening on the world of social media.
Thank you so much, team. It has been awesome connecting with these amazing young minds. So let's connect with another amazing young mind right now who's going to help us deal with Father's Day. If you haven't got your Father's Day lunch menu set yet, don't worry. Chef Clem and Willie's have got us covered with a mouth-watering steak that will leave Dad wanting more. Chef Clem.
First, thank you for calling me a young mind. I appreciate that.
You are.
Thank you.
I meant to say immature, but it came out
I
wrong.
will take that. Anything to avoid these 2 grey hairs that I...
The problem is once there's 2, they multiply.
All right. Talking about multiply.
This is something that really interests me because you kind of turned me into a steak purist.
Oh,
right?
really?
You have. And to the point now that I do. Honestly, I make a really good steak. All on you. All on the tips that I've learned for you. Now we're going to do it completely different.
Completely different, something we haven't done before. And you mentioned multiply. I love this recipe because if you do it right, you can actually feed 2 people with 1 steak.
So you get a good steak deal like this, 121 for 2 sirloins like that. Thank you, I'm there for that.
There we go. So what you're going to do, like, please don't be alarmed. People are going to say, why is he cutting off the fat? If you're making a steak sandwich, this is something that I've learned, okay? You're going to want to take the fat off. But don't throw that fat away. How many months are away from Christmas?
Oh,
and
flavor.
You want that fat for your roast potatoes come Christmas. So you save all your fat caps, and then do some beef.
What do? You just pop it in a packet in the freezer? How do you...
Yeah, I literally do that. I've got like a zip-top bag, and it's got all the fat caps. And I've got quite a few now because I've had to do R&D for this sandwich. So come Christmas, yo, my house.
I'm sure you had to do lots of R&D for this sandwich, dude. Hey, I'm working, man. I'm working. Just leave me to work.
Okay.
The work smells amazing. Thank you.
There we go. Okay, so we're keeping this. This fat cap off. Just because that fat, as it starts to cook, it pulls back, but then it becomes too chewy. If you're making a sandwich, you don't want to be chewing that much.
It doesn't have time to render and kind of release in there, so it's pointless. I get that. Cool.
Right. This is the science of the sandwich.
Okay.
If we look at the steak, okay, you might not be able to see it at home, but the strands of the steak are running like in the motion that my finger's going.
Yeah, you can see it from the marble coming down that way. Cool.
What we want to do is we want to tap it against the grain, okay? So you're going to use the back of the knife.
Oh, wow.
Now we know that the steak, those lines of fibers are going that way. We're going to go this way.
Okay.
So I'm going to just turn it to so I have a better angle, and we're going to...
There you go.
And this, we're
you're
tenderizing
literally
it, yeah.
splitting those fibers, breaking those fibers up.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
And you want to use the back of your knife for obvious reasons. Using the sharp point, you can just slice right through it.
You're going to have mince.
You're going to have, hey, homemade mince is a vibe. So on the other side as well, we're going to do the same thing. I'm not going to go do it as much, but you get the idea. Cool.
Okay, brilliant.
Now you've tenderized your steak. It's a little more relaxed, so when you bite into it, it's going to be softer. You're not going to have to fight the steak.
Sure.
Now you're going to...
Oh, wow, okay.
There we're
and
going
you can even invite Dad in to do this if he's having a frustrating week.
This is also the fun part of the R&D, when you have a reason for just... So you want to really give it a good whack.
Gee whiz, I was going to ask you how your weekend was, but clearly...
I had a lovely weekend.
Get it out, man, get it out.
So what we've done is we've taken one steak and made it like so big that you can serve 2 people with it. So let's go salt and pepper.
Because there is a lot going into this as well, so you almost don't want it to be too big because it's quite rich. So I would use that almost as a guide. Try and make more out of it, make it go a little, stretch it a little bit further economically, but I think flavor-wise, this is perfect. I don't think you need more.
You don't. But I do need something else, though. I need a salsa. So what I've done is I've taken some cherry tomatoes and I popped them in the air fryer at 160 degrees. And you just let it go until they start to really shrivel up, because what happens is they lose moisture, but they intensify in flavor. That's what you want.
Sure.
So everything over here is for you, G, except the sugar. I added a little bit of sugar to the tomatoes before I popped them in the air fryer to caramelize a little bit.
Beautiful. We've got our sherry vinegar. About how much?
When it comes to the dressing, I love sherry vinegar, so I go a little heavy with it.
Okay.
So you can be generous with it, and then to that we're going to add some red onion. The vinegar does an amazing thing to the red onion. It takes away that pungent onion flavor.
Okay.
And you let that sweetness comes through, and that's what you want. You're going to go with some parsley. Green chili, optional, but I feel like it needs that chili kick.
Yeah. A bit of salt and a bit of pepper, huh?
Salt and peps. Okay. The steak goes into some egg that we just beaten up. That's going to be the glue, okay?
Okay.
So... Actually, I was supposed to go flour first. So what you do is, don't make this common mistake. You're going to go take your steak and go into the dry.
Okay.
Then you're going to go into the wet, which becomes the glue, which is going to help the panko and parmesan stick to it.
It's not going to be ruined.
No,
not
at all.
It's just going to have an extra layer, is what I'm seeing here.
Especially if you're doing a double crust, which I do like doing with this steak. Do a double crust. It just adds a lot more crunch, and it just makes it bigger, makes it look amazing.
You are here to do this anyway, so just go. Do 3 layers of crust if you want.
Do 3 layers if you want. I'm fast-forwarding, just popping that in there. So you've got your steak in your egg, okay? Give it a dunky dunk. You're gonna go into your Parmesan and panko. It is called a steak parm for a reason, and the parm for the Parmesan, which gives you like a lot of, like a slight salt, like umami flavor, because we know Parmesan has umami in it, that umami flavor. Oh my goodness, this is actually, how big did I get the steak? It's amazing.
I know. You're feeding a family of 5 with this one.
There we go. So, that was the first crumb.
Okay.
Back into the egg, okay? And we're gonna go back into the breadcrumbs again. You really want like a serious crust on the steak.
I love that.
And my favorite thing about this dish is you can penne is the proper term.
Okay,
you can crumb your steaks the day before. So then when you get home, just take them out the fridge. We know we always bring steak up to temperature before we cook it. But that part of just the crumbing is all done.
It's all there, ready. The flavors are locked in. I love it.
That's busy cooking. That's gonna fry. It goes really quickly. You fry it like you would a steak. So probably like 2 to 3 minutes aside. You still want to keep that pink in the inside. Now, cheese. Okay. We're going to melt some cheese in here. You could pop your cheese under the grill.
Okay.
To get that perfect melt, but we got a blowtorch for you today.
Oh, thank you very much. Any particular cheese that you've gone for here that's for the win?
Go for a mozzarella for that beautiful melt, but there's no reason you can't add mozzarella and something.
Okay,
so if you like blue cheese, go for blue cheese. If you like a bit of a mature cheddar, go for mature cheddar.
Go for a bit of funkiness, okay.
All you want to do now is you're going to get that nice melt on the cheese.
Hopefully.
And when you blowtorch cheese, I think Koreans have this really sorted. There's a flavor that comes out from the cheese. It's a slightly, not bright smoky. It's a different type of smoky that you get from the blowtorch and the cheese. So it adds to the actual flavor. So I like doing that. You're being so gentle with it. I love it. But you can see it's happening. That malt is there. Then you're going to take your beautiful salsa and you're going to top it. The options here, like what happens now is you have to think about options what you're going to serve this with. You could, straight up, have it just as this for dinner. But if you want to make it more substantial, we've got some of the Woolies roast potatoes. We just popped in the air fryer. You could also do some mash. It's totally up to you. That looks beautiful. So I'm going to pop it over here. Have you got some more salsa you want to sprinkle over your steak?
We can definitely do that, my friend.
And again, you saw the size of that steak. I mean, once I've pounded it out and paned it. And then you understand why I say one steak could feed 2. This one, even more. It's pretty...
Yeah, make no mistake. This is a crowd pleaser.
It really is.
I love this. This is a great way to think about your meat because you invest in your protein. So you want to make a really beautiful meal out of it. Now, truth be told, I need to try something different with my steaks. But I'm going to not try this. You know why? Because someone else is going to make this for me on Father's Day.
Exactly.
That's what I'm going to request. This looks absolutely amazing. Funky flavors, rich, beautiful flavor profile. I love it. And then we rounded it off with some gorgeous little tetties there. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. I think any dad would be happy. On behalf of all the dads, love you down. My mouth is watering so much. That's beautiful. And of course, you have an opportunity to do this yourself at home. If this is the steak that your dad really needs this Father's Day, find this recipe on taste.co.za. You will not go wrong. And in fact, you can shop all the ingredients and a whole lot more, especially for dad, at Woolworths Food, in-store, online, or using their amazing app. Chef Clem, you have outdone yourself.
Thank you.
And me, actually. Nice.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beauties. One last time, and your timing is perfect because we've got one last performance coming your way. Joining us on the Expresso stage is singer and songwriter Ava Like Lava, a global citizen born in Iran, taking up space in the music industry and making some unbelievably cool sounds effortlessly as well, which just makes us all sick when we find people are so cool and you don't even have to try. I love this, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, this is coming from someone really old, so I find I say this a lot. First of all, thanks for giving us the pronunciation, Ava, like lava. Okay?
I appreciate it.
You don't understand how often we are like, how do I? I love the fact that your time has come. And it's got to feel like that because you're so in it and you're so busy and you're writing and you're trying to create. I don't think as artists you get very many opportunities to take a step back and realize where you're at. When you have these moments, when you find yourself performing on a stage like this in front of millions of people in this kind of environment, do you take a moment or is it just like yesterday? Is it like tomorrow? Where's your headspace at right now?
Honestly, I like to think about, the last time I was here in Cape Town, which was 2017. That was my first time here. I hadn't started my studies. I hadn't started making music. So just like appreciating that I'm here for music, pursuing my dreams, having, bagged my degrees, I have to enjoy this experience and I have to enjoy this moment and get lost in it and just embrace exactly where I am and do my music justice, do all the years of preparation of making all of it, writing it, recording it. Now, this is where it all comes together.
Yeah.
I live it.
And I think the world's in that space right now is because things change so rapidly. So even as you perform right now, your musical journey is changing. You get to process through this work, you get to write, you get to be creative through that journey. When we talk about the latest EP coming out, Malice in Wonderland, what are you processing? Because it feels like quite a big thing here. Talk us through that.
Malice in Wonderland has taken me over 2 years, to get to this point. I've had new collaborators, so many new friends who are now so dear to me, have been on this journey with me. It's honestly just about reflecting on our times, like you mentioned a little bit earlier, the generation that we come from and, being in the 21st century, being young in the 21st century, how fast the world changes.
Crazy, yeah.
We forget that we're in Wonderland with all the news and all the bad news that we hear. We tend to, just forget about how good we also have it and how beautiful the world is and all the things we actually love and appreciate about this very moments in time.
I'm so glad you're saying that because you sit at the singularity now, where it's the point of creation. And you get to create the future that you want now. It's not about predicting it anymore, it's about creating it, and you're doing it right now. When we talk about Sea Level, what is the song, the last song you're going to perform, what it's all about?
Sea Level is the opening track on Malice in Wonderland, and I wanted it to be a very vulnerable start, starting with my own story, telling my story of all the moments I feel down and I feel low, and all the troubles and volatility that I personally experienced. I had to make this one about me and hope that my listeners will be able to resonate with it, and I hope that I'm capturing other people's experiences through this song. Sea Level, the play on sea level, is meant to be about is what we experience actually, how we see it happening, or should we not think about dark things when we know we feel dark and leave it for the next day where we might have a better perspective on everything.
Well, we're going to let them make up their mind right now.
Thank you.
One last time, here is Ava Like Lava with Sea Level.
Don't know why it scares me when I cry, and I don't know why that shake me when I'm high. Said I don't know why that shake me when I'm high. But I learned through these fears, sacrifice all my tears eventually. Even when it's not innate, fate is never late. It just be, it just be, it just be. The only hood I'm from is the sisters. Never thought I was less than a mistress. Only child, so my memories were mine alone, no witness. Been minding my own business. Wanna start a business. Selling me on my dreams. I only had the vision, but a bomb still needs a vision. To my sign I owed ignition. Have multiple personalities and I'm on the same mission. no bad, bad does what's allowed. At least she know what she's about. At least she know what she's about. You appreciate the nights, but escape the gloom. And I don't know why it scares me when I cry. And I don't know why that shake me when I'm high.
Another feel-good production.